Hi! I was in the middle of scripting a bunch of new videos and getting ready to make them, and then the Ladies Survey 2013 came out, and I figured I was late to the party last time, I'm gonna jump on the train this time. So let's get on with the survey. Absolutely, women have a harder time on the internet than men, not just because of the harassment and just general sexism that is found in all corners of the internet, but also because I feel like women's content isn't as transferable as men's content. Just an example, it's more acceptable in society for girls to be into cars than guys to be into skincare. And I'm talking in a purely heteronormative sense. Growing up as a girl, I was told, yeah, you can do anything boys can do. It's okay for girls to like boy things. And then kind of as an afterthought, because I had brothers, it's like, yeah, and it's okay for you to like girl things too. Like you can play with your sister's dolls, and then to me, you can play with your brother's Hot Wheels. I felt like there was more gravity given to telling girls that they can do boy things because of course there has been this systemic thing. Men have always ruled the world. Of course boy things are awesome. Even as a young kid, you get that sense that the balance is shifting. But I got the sense from the boys in my life that, oh, you can play with dolls. Yeah, I can. But I won't. So from that logic, it follows that women are more inclined to view more men's content than men are inclined to view women's content. And I said in my video last year that there is still an impression that female content creators are only going to talk about fashion and beauty and things of that nature. And this is kind of a girl things, boy things stigmatization that is really damaging, because if female content creators are immediately discounted as something that boys won't like, men won't watch them. I think if there is more crossover, particularly on the men's side towards the female content creators, then there will be a more open conversation and we'll learn a lot from each other, and that would make it a little easier for women on the internet. This book, How to Be a Woman by Caitlin Moran. Everyone needs to read this book, if only for its razor-sharp definition of exactly what a feminist is, and for its insistence that feminism is really just everyone being polite to one another. She covers just about every topic you can imagine that would have to do with womanhood, and she does so with such compassion and integrity and a wicked sense of humor. There is something very nice about networks that support women. They make it possible to readily get advice from like-minded women and hear about how they approach different challenges that they face. But at the same time, we don't want to go overboard and create a sense of the women's club and the men's club, and this is what I was talking about back in question 1. Everyone should support people that they want to support, no matter their gender. Last year, my promise was to be as constructive and positive as I could in my support for female creators and just all content creators in general, and I think I can safely say that I made good on that promise this year. I think there are times when supporting female content creators not only benefits them, but also contributes to the discussion about things like sexism at large. And this year I've been really impressed with the support I've seen on some of the videos, especially when it comes to issues like sexism and catcalling. Just as a specific example, some of you might have seen Goeli Bongo's recent video on this catcalling incident that happened to her that caused her actually eventually to move neighborhoods. When someone opens up like this, all you can do is support them. And I think Ali's video is so important and a reminder that it still needs to be said. No one deserves to be raped. Wearing certain clothing is never an indicator of whether you're asking for it or inviting rape. We need to address the mentality that says these things are okay, because they're not. On that note, things now are probably the same as they were last year, but incidents dealing with sexism and rape culture have become a lot more visible. Either they were more visible to begin with, or people have been using their voices and speaking up and making sure that people know this is not right. In a sense, things are both better and worse. I don't know how blurred lines and the VMA twerksident can even be considered a good idea, but I absolutely love how so many people have spoken out and made it clear that we still have a ways to go with regard to gender equality. As for female content creators, I hope that we all continue to speak out and share our experiences, both the good and the bad. In the next 12 months, I pledge to continue to offer words of encouragement and support to female creators. I'm gonna mix things up a little bit. These are all gonna be blogs. So the first one is Kate Beaton. She writes a webcomic called Hark! A Vagrant, and if you haven't read it and you like history and literature and Canadian stereotypes, then definitely read it because they have me in stitches all the time. Next is Mara Wilson. Her blog is called Mara Wilson Writes Stuff. I grew up watching Mara Wilson movies, and recently I rewatched Matilda, and I teared up at that opening scene of hers where she's pulling the wagon filled with library books, because I just realized how much of an importance that scene, and by extension her movies, had on my childhood. It's a comfort to know that she's grown up to be an excellent writer, and it's really cool to hear all of her stories about her perspective growing up as a child star and making those films, so you should definitely give that a read. Kelly Williams Brown, who writes adulting at adultingblog.com. This blog is full of helpful tips about how to deal with life as an adult. She talks about dealing with money, procrastination, cleaning your house, and just generally taking care of yourself and your relationships as though you are a fully grown adult. Just reading it makes me feel more self-sufficient. Kate Fridkiss, and her blog is Eat the Damn Cake. This is mainly a body image blog, and it is absolutely riveting. She always knows how to get to the gritty roots of an issue, and she knows exactly which questions to ask. So if you're into the psychology of the self and media literacy, this is an excellent blog. Amanda Palmer. I followed her blog for about 10 years, or at least 10 years worth of content, and it's been hosted on the Dresden Dolls website and now her personal website as well. Amanda Palmer may be my favorite internet person of all because she has wholeheartedly embraced the internet and all its possibilities, and she's really harnessed its power. If you haven't seen her TED Talk yet, go now. Like, actually just pause the video, go watch her TED Talk. It'll blow your mind. Reading her blog has taught me about art and its limits, if there are any limits. It taught me about life and life as an artist, and consequently about being afraid and not being afraid to just go for it. And this woman can write. It's this beautiful, piercing stream of consciousness stuff. I've linked 3 of her blog posts below, and these are 3 that have stayed with me for ages, and it's kind of weird to say that about a blog post, but trust me, these are wonderful, and I hope you enjoy reading them. As for tagging, I tag everyone. Just everyone. All the things that I mentioned that are linkable are linked down below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!